your coworkers are wasting your time. Listen, in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the biggest things that waste time in a normal, I'll say 9 to 5 workday, or even if you don't have a normal 9 to 5 workday. I guarantee you there are people that are wasting time in your day, and I give you a couple of resources to help you keep them accountable for your time and their time, and actually have a better, more productive day in the process. Let me tell you a little quick story about where this is going. So my wife, right now is pregnant, also taking care of a toddler at home. So she is a very busy, hectic, active work day. But the number of times I've come home from work and just been physically, or not even physically, just unbelievably exhausted. And she'll ask me, "Oh my God, what was your day like?" I said, "I'm so tired." "Oh, what did you do?" "Oh, I had meetings all day long. So many meetings. I'm so tired." She'll look at me. Again, this is a woman who's pregnant, chasing around a toddler all day, physically running, carrying, and dragging a toddler throughout the house. And just say, "Oh, you're tired. Tell me more." So just to get it straight, so you sat in a chair all day and listened to other people talk and you're tired. And she's not wrong. But the problem is that most people don't realize is that when you have a day full of back-to-back meetings, there's a couple things that your body and your mind need. You need a break. You need a little bit of mental time to recover, because there is a real thing when it comes to switching topics, going from topic A to B to C. There is actually time lost when you do switching. Context switching is actually a real thing. There have been studies done to say the longer you can stay deep focus, deep work on a topic, the more you can get done because you get in a good groove. Constantly bouncing around and switching, especially from project to project to project, is very tiring. We only have so many cognitive resources to spend throughout the day, and things like that just become taxing on your mental capacity. So yes, while it's not running around and chasing a toddler, which my wife is a godsend for, it is truly tiring. And the problem is that I've seen over the years that we do not do a good job of managing time in meetings. I know I've been very guilty of it, but there are 4 things that I've found that I want to share with you guys that have helped me get a little bit better over time. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but these are things that have helped me, and I think can help you keep your coworkers and some of your leads accountable too. Things to look out for, little red flags. And if you see them, don't be afraid to reach out and say, "Hey, I have a couple questions and I want to talk to you a little more about this." So the first one is there an agenda? Is there actually something? Do you know what you're going to this meeting for? Are you guys, do you know what you're talking about? Just straight up. I went to a meeting the other day and we all got on the call and said, "Oh yeah, so I sent you some slides and we think there's some potential overlap between these projects here." And it just people started talking. I said, "I'm sorry, can we stop for a second? I don't see it. I don't know what anybody's talking about here. Not to be dense, but I could use a little bit of help understanding what we're talking about." And the more I started to pull the thread on it, the more people were like, "Well, yeah, we don't really know either." That's a good question. And the person who really we needed to explain it's not here. So we don't really have anything to talk about. So something as simple as like, "Hey, here's the thing," and a couple bullets of like the key things you want to talk about. Just give people an idea of what are the things you want to discuss. And it also sets the framework for the meeting itself, gives you objectives to hit, goals to reach. And really by the end of it too, it should give you actions to come out from. That's a way you set up an effective meeting, is you have an agenda, topics, so people know exactly what you're going to talk about when they come in, so they don't go wandering off on something else, and goals and actions you want to assign by the end of it. The second one is, and I just be blunt, if you look at the agenda and say, "Hey, I understand what we wanted to go talk about, but let me send you an email first. I think I can answer this in an email pretty quickly." You'd be surprised the number of times that this has been able to happen, especially for quick meetings and small topics. A lot of these things can be answered over email. And if not, you know what? Your email might help better influence an agenda or goals for the meeting that you're about to have. Now, the thing with email that I found over the years is that a lot of times people send email and they just babble. They don't get to a point. To have really effective and efficient emails, you have to be just the facts. For those of you who are old enough to know Dragnet, or even if it's the 80s movie, like I know with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, just the facts, ma'am. It's got to be simple, quick bullets of the factual information that you want to share about what the topic is. Don't wander into hypothesis or speculation. Just say, "These are the couple things," and be concise and organized with how you send this information. I have a whiteboard up on my office, in my wall at my office, and I have a list of all my kind of engineering laws and just really rules of kind of leadership and things like that. And one of them is bullets save lives. And what that means is when you send up an email, if it is just a big wall of text, nobody's going to read it. If you want to send information to people, especially if it's going to try to cancel a meeting from your calendar, make sure it is organized And use things like bullets to try to organize your thoughts and keep them quick and concise. A lot of leads are very busy. And the reason why they want to have meetings is because it gives them a chance to breathe, to focus, and understand a topic. If you can do that in 5 to 7 to 9 bullets, you can save a ton of time. So be concise, be quick, and be to the point. So again, the first one is understand what you're talking about in the meeting and the goals and objectives. The second one is once you understand them, can it be answered in an email? Now the third thing is who needs to be on the meeting? If it's something where you're just sharing information to make sure people are on the right, doing a status update, okay, you don't need a ton of heavy hitters on for that. But if it's a call where a decision needs to be made or there's a key person, if they're not on, either decide to move it. If they're not on within a couple minutes and don't seem like they're coming, just cancel it. This meeting that was on the other day, we were confused about the topic. The agenda wasn't clear. So luckily, we all kind of said, hey, I think we need a few more people to have a good, effective conversation here. And it was good. We got a couple minutes back to our day. Still not, the most ideal, but it happens, right? You can't discount that. So understand if it is truly a decision maker meeting, that decision makers are there. The fourth thing, so now that's, understand your agenda and objectives. Once you know that, can it be answered in an email? Is a decision needed? Make sure you have decision makers on and keeping them focused. And the fourth thing is bound your time. This is a big one. There's a book written years ago and an ideology behind it called Parkinson's Law. The idea is that work expands to fill the time allotted. That's the kind of like the main takeaway from the book. Actually, I'm reading the book now, and maybe when I'm done, I'll do a book review. If you guys would be interested in that, put in the comments. I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on book reviews too. But again, the idea is work expands to time allotted. So if you have an hour to talk about a topic, you will spend an hour. If you have 2 hours to talk about a topic, you will spend 2 hours. Consider how much time you really need. I was in a meeting the other day where we were all running around, kind of running a little bit late. It was a half-hour meeting, but we started a little bit late. I had to leave a few minutes early to run off to a customer meeting. So we really only had maybe 10 or 12 minutes to have a pretty important conversation. But we had all the decision makers in the room. We hit the real key topics very quickly. When you're limited on time, you cut out the BS real quick. There's no fluff. It's all the good stuff and only that. You have to cut out the nonsense to get through your meeting in that type of timeline. So we got through everything, hit the key points, came up with some really good ideas, assigned actions, had the decision makers there, focused, not distracted, and we're done. 10 minutes. One of my coworkers turned to me and goes, wow, that was amazing. That was so cool to see. We had all the people sitting in one room and got through that. And it was a good meeting. It was like we truly got things done quickly, effectively, and efficiently. And that's what you want to strive for. Like, I love hanging out with my coworkers and being able to talk through stuff. And it's important to build relationships at work. But when you have to get through your day, get through the big things. So that's kind of my fourth thing is learn to bound your time. And a couple other little nuggets here. When it comes to bounding your time, consider how much time you need and see if you can cut it in half. If you think it's an hour, see if you can cut it to 30 minutes. Again, agenda, objectives, and goals. Make sure you have all the right people on the call. Make sure it's not something that can be answered in email. And then bound your time. Get really focused. Make sure you hit everything you need to discuss. And if it is something that you are truly efficient in running this meeting with, and you still need more time, that's good. It's not a bad thing. There's good times when you might want to run a few minutes over if everybody can talk for a little bit longer, or schedule a follow-up. But this is maybe a contradictory thought, but context switching is bad. So going from meeting to meeting to meeting, instead of just having like 1 hour long or 2 hour long meeting, there's some back and forth, maybe some trade space there. But if you think about it, I would rather say I scheduled an hour meeting today and I needed to schedule 2 hour long follow-ups than saying I have a 3 hour meeting and nothing got done. The more you can focus and the faster you can get through execution and objectives and goals, the quicker you can figure out what the right things to talk about next are. Otherwise, you just wander. You don't want to wander in your topics. Get focused. And if you can get through an hour-long meeting and say, ooh, we have 3 actions from this. Those 3 actions are the next things we're going to talk about in our meeting. Now you know, and that you have a good meeting to go hit next. So again, just to recap, it's understanding your agenda and objectives. Could it be answered in an email once you know what the topics are? Do you have the right people on board? And also bound your time. Make sure you're focused and efficient. Don't don't frill around. Like, cut your time in half if you need to, just to see if you can cut yourself down a little bit. And these are real things, right? You know, there are going to be times where it's going to happen. I still make this mistake from time to time, or probably pretty often. But at the same time, if you can improve your day by one meeting at a time, 2 meetings at a time, if you're saving an hour a day, an hour out of an 8-hour day is 12.5% of your time, right? 12.5% of your time. That's huge. Imagine what that's like over a week, over a month, over a year. Little tweaks like that can improve how well you work very quickly. And this is not just internally with work meetings among coworkers. This is also effective when you talk to customers as well. Consider you don't want to jump around things. You want to be focused. You want to be itemized. You want to know what you're talking about. Be structured in your conversations because you want to be professional. If you come off as all over the place, your topics are unorganized, you look unprofessional. And that's probably not somebody that somebody wants to work with from a customer-wise. So keep your bullets, just the facts, stay organized, stay on topic, execute quickly, and you'll have a much better, more effective day when it comes to meetings. Hopefully this has helped you guys out a little bit. These are some things that I've been trying over the past couple of years. I'm sure over time I'll have more things to add, but I wanted to share with you, this with you guys now. Put in the comments below if you've ever had an awful meeting that breaks all these rules. I'm sure I've violated every one of these at some point in my career, if not even the past week or two. But I'd love to hear from you guys more. Hopefully these help out. And then, comment below if you have any horror stories. We'd love to hear more topics like this, or book reviews too. But thanks for joining in, and thanks for joining the journey, guys. Later.